Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Sevens. This one, it is the final of the women's competition. It will be New Zealand versus Australia for the 30th time that these two sides have played each other in a finals game. New Zealand have won the last three, but Australia would like nothing more than to take the World Championship off the Kiwis. Looking through at the side who want to do it: Madison Levi, Mackenzie Davis, Faith Nathan, Soraya Parkey, Duff, Levi, that being Tegan, and also it is Isabella Nasser. Looking through at New Zealand's starting lineup: Georgia Miller, she scored the first try up against the USA in the last contest. Stacey Waka, Rizi Pori Lane, Mahina Paul, Sira Hirani, Michaela Brake, and Jasmine Felix Hotham. So no changes for New Zealand in the starting side. They have decided they've got the winning combinations here. We have to wait and see whether or not it is a reality. But of course, do let me know your score predictions in the comments and the chat. We are just about ready to go for this match. Faith Nathan, they are showing at the moment. She had a tremendous game up against Canada. Both semi-finals were not even close. Canada, they hung in there for a little bit. USA did the same, but New Zealand and Australia, the trans-Tasman rivals, still progressed. And Kat Roach, the referee in charge of this one, her 82nd match in charge. And go the Kiwis, Kia Kaha, says JD. It is now going to be New Zealand who received the kickoff. Australia, they are going from left to right. We are underway for this contest, the final of the Women's Sevens in LA. Already Madison Levi trying to get over the ball, and she has won the penalty for Australia. She had a very crucial one up against the Canadians in the last contest too. Tegan Levi trying to find her way through, gives it off to Nasser, but she pops the ball into the hands of Rizi Pori Lane. New Zealand back with the ball 15 metres out from their own try line. They have to strike early and try and take away Australia's momentum running down the wing. Michaela Brake, she needs 3 tries to be the highest scoring New Zealand Sevens player for the woman of all time. Only Tyler King, formerly known as Tyler Nathan Wong, is ahead of her. Big shot coming in from the Australian defence. Mackenzie Davis, she proved in that game up against the Canadians that she can definitely take a shot. Running after this one, Georgia Miller. She's charging for Tegan Levi. She's going to chase her the whole way, but can't stop her. And New Zealand get the first try. Black Ferns win by 14 points. New Zealand 30, Oz 21, says JD. But Georgia Miller scores her 29th of the season. Well, for a second, she might have had a little bit of a limp there, but it looks like she will be all right. It just has a way of finding gaps. And Tegan Levi thought she had her. And then just that half fend to the chest. It looked like Georgia was having a conversation with the Aussie player. Says, Nov, mum, you got to be careful doing that, though. Some people would call it confidence. Some would call it arrogance. And depending on the outcome of the game, you either look like a genius or an idiot. But luckily for Georgia Miller, that one paid off. New Zealand 5-0 up, but the kick has missed. And now Australia have managed to claim this ball. Passing it across to the right-hand side. Good low tackle on Isabella Nasser. Jasmine Felix Hotham looking for that steal in the breakdown. And New Zealand trying to turn it into a maul here. Across to the left-hand side. Another step from Australia. I want to see a close game, something like 2021 for New Zealand. Georgia Miller legend. Says a JD, that will be the penalty going the way of Australia. Tegan Levi. Where is the gap that Australia normally run through? There it comes, Soraya Parkey, cutting on the outside. Really awkward fall for her. She almost ended up flipping forward. I think she put her arm down to brace, and it's actually going to be the penalty going the way of New Zealand now for not releasing. In terms of cup meetings in the final, 20 wins have gone the way of New Zealand. 9 wins have gone the way of the Australians. Tripped up with the ankle tap. Nice work from Pori Lane, and yeah, from just slamming the kneecap into the turf, and then Michaela Brake getting the steal for New Zealand. New Zealand have won 3 straight matches against Australia since the Perth Cup final. They have said there And I think all of those times, or with the exception of one, they have actually been in the final. Time off on the number number, no more issues. Comment from the ref when it comes to scrums. I think Maddie Levi's trying to say Stacey Waka is not on the number. Going off to the right-hand side, Mahina Paul running sideways, passes it off to Michaela Brake. Like I said, she needs 3 tries to be able to become the most points for New Zealand. But now, nicely done by Australia. Tegan Levi jumping in and grabs that ball. Referee decides that it is far enough out of the breakdown that it wasn't counted as part of the rucks. Therefore, she is allowed to dive on it. Faith Nathan goes back across to the right-hand side. Nice step from Isabella Nasser, but she will be tackled by Georgia Miller. Faith Nathan trying to find the next pass. There it is to Maddie Levi. She goes through one. Michaela Brake. In fact, that time it was Felix Hotham trying to jump in there. Gets pushed to the side from Sirahirani. Australia just slowly working their way up the field. Oh, that was almost a tip tackle, but she brought her down nicely. Kayla Brake, another tackle made. Good defence from New Zealand, not allowing Australia to find that line break. Nasser thought about the inside ball, thinking about an offload. Levi trips over Georgia Miller, who was on the ground. Now Duff with the pass across. That was head. How about Tegan Levi continue playing? She was asking the ref, but they will check it anyway. So you might as well try and find that gap. Another pass, Levi. On across now, finds Maddie Levi. Chance for her, offloading. Doesn't find Faith Nathan initially, but now being picked up and dragged down. Stacey Waka onto the ball. No, just can't quite reach it. Tegan Levi again will go off to the side. New Zealand on the verge of scoring. Sirahirani does get it. I was going to say they're just continuing to force them back. And eventually, it's either going to be the 5-metre scrum, or in this case, it's going to be the try out wide for Michaela Brake. She needs 2 more now. And got to shut down Maddie, which is what New Zealand used in one of their recent victories over Australia. They just didn't allow her any sort of space. Showing that big shot from Poldy Lane. So it seems like in this game, they are also targeting Tegan Levi. So they've decided if you're a Levi, you're going to have a few big shots. Aussie haven't turned up so far. Says Kiwi Robin Yahoo. Says JD there. The kick is successful, which will make the score now 12 points to 0 for New Zealand. We see it there. Michaela Brake sitting 7 points behind Tyler King. They're saying she needs 7 to be able to equalise, but I don't think they'll... Oh, they might let her take 1 conversion to sit her right up on the same amount as well, perhaps. Time is going to be turned back on now. Just the 60 seconds remaining in the half. And of course, we've got a men's final just around the corner. That will be South Africa versus Spain. I'm that used to saying that Fiji are in the final. That just isn't the case anymore. Spain are actually more commonly in finals this season than Fiji almost. Now going off to the left-hand side. Faith Nathan, once again, they are only just out from their own goal line here for New Zealand. Duff tries to break through. Georgia Miller's tackle attempt. Oh, she forces the error, but it does go backwards. Rush defence from New Zealand. That was too high from Felix Hotham, though. Will be the penalty again to Australia. And keep the Aussies out before halftime, says Helen. It would be a massive confidence booster for New Zealand. They're actually going to tap this. I disagree with that plan because they just needed to get out of their own 22. And with this tactic, it means that once again, New Zealand are just on them. Oh, they're going to milk a penalty. No, not quite. Now back across to the side. There is the siren step again from Davis. Wrestled down by her opposite number, Mahina Paul. Looking both ways. They will go right now for the Australians. But they are still trying to make ground. As stolen by New Zealand again. They'll actually kick this one into touch. That was an interesting choice as they were only 25 metres out from the Australian line. They have decided instead to call at halftime. Will that decision be one that they regret later on? Overall, Australia just trapped throughout that whole half. It actually was a little bit similar to what we saw between Samoa and Germany not too long ago how just a real lack of territory, but when they were given the chance to go up the field, kick it into touch, take the line out, they said, no, we'll tap it. And they just continued to be trapped in the 22 even with that. But second half just around the corner. So far, Georgia Miller and Michaela Brake, the 2 try scorers for New Zealand. The second half, I feel like Australia will at least get that 1 try, which is where New Zealand have to be careful. We have got there, no, it won't cost us because Australia haven't turned up in the first 8 minutes. But then that's normally concerning, isn't it? Like, I would always think that with a side like Australia, they're going to get really fired up for the second 7 minutes. Their coach will be yelling, telling them, look, are you playing like you want to win the final, or are you playing like you're just playing on a Saturday? You got to go out there, you got to make sure you get that big win. They're showing Leroy Carter scoring a try there for the Chiefs. Of course, the New Zealand men, like they were missing him a little bit, but still managing to get themselves the big win over Argentina. They received the bronze. On the women's side, we saw Canada get themselves the bronze medal as well. But now, second half. The benches as well is probably one to talk about a little bit for this game. For Australia, they've got a very young bench in this match. Now, chance here. And we are now underway. Bit of side shuffling coming from Georgia Miller. Going to be kicking this one off. Nicely taken just inside of the 22. Now Australia, that's the gap that they're after. And like I said, they'll come out firing. Are you concerned that some of the Black Ferns are playing this weekend? Says Kiwi Rob. Not really, to be honest. I feel like if anything, this will be a nice warm-up for them to be able to go from one to the other. But Australia just using up a bit more of the time, and they have scored the early try in the second half. 7 points to 12 will be the scorers. This is a nice, easy kick straight out in front of the posts. That is already the first one. Perhaps many if they can find those gaps. And that's what they just needed in the first half, to be able to get one big break. And in the end, it was a 2-woman tackle from New Zealand, and then the quick pick and go from the youngster Mackenzie Davis. And they were unable to catch her after that. Now ready to take this kickoff for Australia. See their tournament tries. Hogan Rochester is at the top of the bunch with 7. Michaela Brake, Davis, Felix Otham and Miller are all sitting there on 6. Felix Otham going back to Stacey Waku. Almost ended up slipping into touch, but just stays in the field of play. Kiwis will be amped to the max, says JD. Yeah, I feel like that try, that's a loose ball. Felix Otham knocked backwards from New Zealand, though, from Miller. Now Hirini trying the step. She is going to be wrestled down Spain in a cup final. Am I dreaming? You are not. Up against these South Africans. They have had such an incredible season, Spain, and I feel like the way that would be the fairy tale ending would be to win it. That's a great tackle attempt, but Brake gets back to her feet. Still manages to find the offload to Miller. 5 metres out from the line. Another pop pass. New Zealand will get their 3rd try. And that was just the classic example of keeping the ball alive, not allowing the defence to set. Michaela Brake, when she was going down the wing, it looked like she was going to have the pace to be able to get away, but a good chase from Australia. And then got back up to her feet. Had to get back and get her again was Ruby Nicholas, and then Georgia Miller, she was caught. And then one more offload going away too. Now 4.5 minutes remaining. That one's hit the post and gone over. That is going to make the score now 19 points to 7. Now she is sitting at the top of the bunch for for points scored throughout the series with 322. It's quite incredible that the person in second is Maddie Levi, seeing as she scored 54 tries throughout this Sevens year. Now Isabella Nessa, I think it was, offloads to Ruby Nichols. A little bit of a counter-up coming from Australia. They've got it. That looked a little bit high. on Georgia Miller. They have got themselves the penalty advantage now. New Zealand moving away to the left-hand side. This will be a chance for break. If they do find her, nope. She does have to join the breakdown. Instead, going for the step, Hirini inside ball. Mahina Paul through again. And it will be the try for New Zealand that I think will just about secure this game. Sitting 24 points to 7, soon to be 26. Just really nicely done again by New Zealand, seeing that the ball was out the back of the breakdown and just jumping on it. And then great inside ball off to Mahina Paul. And does slam it down. Game over for Aussie. Says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, it would take an absolutely massive shift from them in the next 3 minutes to be able to win from here. 3 converted tries would get them there. But that is, of course, a lot easier said than done when the time does continue to tick down. Maddie Levi slaps it back. And Black Ferns just too good, says Novmum. Back across to the right-hand side. And this will be a 4th win in a row. That looked high as well from New Zealand. So they have decided to take that one quickly, Australia, as they have to. 2.5 minutes now remaining on the clock. But someone who's only had 1 carry in this contest, Maddie Levi. That's been the difference maker. Speaking of Levi, she's got the ball now and she is charging down the wing, bumping off, or at least trying to bump off the Teresa tackle, and that is fantastic. Defence from New Zealand. Looks like an Aussie injury. Back onto the feet. In fact, it was Tanetti who put in that shot, but Maddie Levi now for her 2nd carry. They just went and shut her down. And Kiwis will do another try for sure, says JD. Currently only 19 minutes away from the men's final 2. Lately it has been New Zealand and Argentina. Or at least it was last week, or last competition. Of course, taking about a month off in between these 2 legs. New Zealand going back across to the left-hand side. Felix Hotham pops it back for Polry Lane, who pops out of the tackle of Nicholas. Back across to Michaela Brake. If she scores right at the end of this game between the posts, I would say they'll let her take the kick for the sake of getting the same amount of points as Tyler King. Offloaded to Sarah Hirini, but she will score it herself. Secures the game well and truly for New Zealand. They've got 20-game winning streak. That is also her first match. A little bit of a celebration from Hirini as well, something you don't see too often until the game is over. Try time, says Kiwi Rob, with the offload from Georgia Miller. Straight into the hands of Hirini. Sounds like a couple subs are now being made too. Just some really good pace shown throughout this game for the Kiwis. They've found gaps in this inexperienced Australian side, compared to at least the experience that they used to have. No Charlotte Caslick, no Demi Hayes, got injured at the start of the competition, no Tia Hines. Those numbers and the names start to add up. Now ready to drop kick this one. And Kiwis will ram it home. Says a JD. Michaela Brake, she is off the field now, so we will have to wait to see if she can end up being the highest scoring. Now, kicking this one downfield. And that one's going to be slapped back by New Zealand. It's got themselves possession for probably the last time in this match. Currently 30 seconds. Who do you have for the Men's Cup final? The thing is, South Africa, for me, should win, right? They've won 4 from 4. They've looked strong while doing it. Oh, that was an ugly collision. Hit it right in the skull, I think it was. No, it must have been just on the chest. As it is going to be play on Australia. Now have got themselves the ball. But like Spain, the way that they played up against Argentina, that would be a little bit concerning if South Africa do have a couple early handling errors. But I think it's South Africa's discipline. If they don't give away penalties, they'll win. It all comes down to that, though, because a few times they have had those yellow cards that have cost them. That one has gone into touch. Other Oz players need to step up. Less pressure off for Maddie. And also congrats Black Ferns, well deserved. So they do win the overall season standings championship and also the trophy here. 31 points to 7. So a big win for the Kiwis. And now we have about 10 minutes till we transfer over to that next stream where we will get to see South Africa taking on Spain for the men's final as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.